two foundational documents in property acquisition that are important as C of O.
I welcome you to my property consult.
And here we normally discuss real estate matters, land titles, documents, and all other information for profitable investment and investment security. Our previous video we discussed about the two categories of lands, and after that, once one has gotten free land, so the next thing to be conscious of and to take importance are these two documents. So if you're just joining or just watching this, kindly subscribe and turn on the notification button in order to be getting subsequent videos that will be useful along the line. So number one document is deed of assignment, while second document is survey plan. Deed of assignment, this is legal documents that transfer ownership, interest, rights, and all other information and data from one party to another, that is from the seller to the buyer, or from the present holder to the new buyer. So it's legal documents that is well known everywhere, and they have been drafted by property lawyers or property attorney, and they must be registered and signed. Most people or some people do mistake such by drafting an agreement at any business center in which both parties will then sign, and it will be used in replacement of the deed of assignment, which is not advisable and not safe, most especially for the buyer. So that is not genuine and not secure. There are some components that deed of assignment document must have, and if any of this is missing, that means the deed is not well compiled and well drafted. One, it must have both parties' name written and drafted with their addresses, and also it must cover the amount being paid, the receipts, and date the money was paid. Also, signatories to both parties, that is, the seller must have his or her own signatories, which is also known as witnesses, same as the buyer. So, if you are buying from an individual, seller must have at least two witnesses, and you as a buyer must have at least two as well, but most advisable to have three, in which the witnesses for the seller, most especially if it's family land or a community land, they must be people with high rank, that is aged, and people with authority, not just member of the family, but the head and someone that follow in hierarchy. Example, if a family land being sold by a particular family, the seller must be the head of the family and followed by the next person to the head of the family, and followed by other people that are close in rank to the head. So with that, you will be safe and there won't be any issue that the land is being sold by those who have no right to sell the land. So you won't have such in the future if those who are expected to be the signatories are found on the deed. So that's it for the part of the seller, in which all land buyers must take note of. It's not advisable for you to have your deed of assignment being signed by just member of a family without the head of the family or without any approval or authorization from any of the head of the family. Another component that a deed must have is it must also have this sign of the lawyer that drafted it with the lawyer's contact, office address, and the chamber. Apart from that, it also must have MBA sticker that shows that it has passed through professionalism, unlike other deed of agreements or agreement letter that most people or some families do draft outside or at the business center for land buyers. In order to be on safer side, all these components must be found on a deed of assignment document. There usually be oaths at the last page of the deed, in which in this oath it will be also stamped at the Supreme Court. So with the date being signed and the judge's name. So that means the seller has made an oath to stand with the buyer in the future for any if eventualities or if need any help in the land title perfection. So that's it for the deed. So the second one is survey. Survey is a plan that measures land boundary, land size, dimension, and all other things that has to do with the space. Survey is also important, and both survey and deed of assignment goes together in property purchase. Even if you are buying property with C of O, without these two documents, you have no property or your purchase is yet to be completed. The survey is a document that measures the land boundary for accurate measurements and description. On survey plan, these are what to look out for. One, the exact location with the owner's name written on top. Also, the local government in which that land falls in. Also, the coordinate number and the dimension, that is how the land is placed. So if it's facing a road or not, or if there's a road beside it or not, or if there's something like rocks or other things beside or close by in the land. So that's it. Also, those who normally draw the survey are land surveyors, and those who usually send it are the surveyor general of each state, in which they are being regulated by the state government, and the surveyor's name that charted it also must be on the survey plan, same as the stamp of the surveyor general and the date being charted or the date being drawn. These are what to look out for in the survey plan, and we have two types, as I said earlier. We have provisional survey and registered survey, in which provisional survey is just sketch of drawing with the land dimension and the location. So with that, it's like temporary plan, and for the other one which is registered, so it's signed and registered, and also is known as the land registry of the state or at the Bureau of Land, depending on the name being called in the state you are. So, with your registered survey, you can then process your C of O, Gazette, or governance consents. That is, you can perfect the title with the survey including your deed of assignment if registered. But for the professional, you can't. And the survey plan is what the engineers, architects, civil engineers, and others we use for designing of building plan and others. So that's what they normally work on, being a professional engineers or learned professional. Once again, a survey must have the coordinate number, it must be stamped and signed, the date being drawn or charted, the name of the owner and the exact location on top, same as the dimension of the land, if facing the road or not. Importance of these both documents is that on free land, if you have both at your disposal, you can then process your CFO by applying for it at the proper channel with the proper professional, most especially land surveyor. And before that, you will have to pay for stamp duty for the deed at the internal revenue or tax payer office of the state you are. So with both, you are free to go. And if any property being acquired without these two documents, such acquisition is not completed and it's risky. So these are the two documents most people or most buyers overlooked, and some don't even take them seriously. If they are not that important, most real estate developers across in the nation, either in Lagos, Ogun State, Abuja, or in the East, won't be collecting documentation fee, in which documentation fee specifically is meant for both documents, that is the survey plan and deed of assignments. So if they're not that compulsory and important, they won't separate it from the land payment. So a land seller or a developer can't sell the land to someone and also ask for CFO money separately, but they can sell a land to you as a company or a developer and still ask for documentation fee. And if you also buy a land from an individual or a family or a community, it is advisable you have your deed of assignments drafted by by your own lawyer, signed by all parties involved. Then have your land surveyor to do the survey fee for you, and then proceed to the land perfection. So with that, you are free and you are safe if bought rightfully. And then with the real estate developer or a company, it's advisable one also pay for these documents in order to have them at one's disposal, because you being a landowner, you need to have documents to point to, and they must be completed. So it's like you buying a motor and you don't have roadworthiness, driver license, your plate number documents, insurance documents, and others. So that means that car is not yours till you get all those documents at your disposal. That's the importance of having these two documents, because they show full ownership of a property. And as we have paper allocation, we still have physical allocation, in which both are necessary in real estate transaction. That is, have all papers at your disposal. If you enjoy this video, kindly subscribe for subsequent videos and turn on your notification bell. We appreciate you, and drop your comments If you have questions below, on to the next video concerning the types of deed documents we have, which briefly are deed of assignment, deed of conveyance, deed of transfer, deed of agreements, power of attorney, and deed of partition. So once again, you are welcome to my property consults, where we discuss land matters, documentation, verification tips, market updates, and others. Thank you.